Hey guys, welcome to the first video of 2026. This is one of my favorite videos to do. This is my 2025 wrap up. We are going to be looking at my reading stats from 2025, and then I'm going to be recommending all the books I read with a yes, no, or a maybe. Let's get into it. In 2025, I completed 109 books, and across all those books, I read 42,302 pages. The first book that I completed in 2025 was The Covenant of Water by Abraham. Sorry, I learned how to say his last name last night, and I totally forgot how to say it. The last book that I read in 2025 was another tome, and that was Mistborn: The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. Here's the mood map. This is something new that they've done, so this is something that intrigues you. This is for you. It says a mood map of your reading. Lighter books push the line up, and darker books pull the line down. And yeah, I'm definitely somebody who prefers dark books. It says, you felt every heartbeat on the page, lingered over quieter, thoughtful moments, and wandered through tales tinged with shadow. A steady rhythm of stories kept the year moving along nicely. And this is when I see this graph, I'm like, oh, it's so scary. What does all this mean? So the month that I read the least amount of pages was September, August, sometime in there. And that I read the most pages was March. And the month with the least amount of books read was August, I do know that. And the highest amount was June. Again, just when they're not all listed there, I get kind of confused. Genres I spent the most time with, so again, this is just most, these aren't the only genres that I read, but literary, which is my favorite. Historical, that was like my longtime favorite. Contemporary and literary to me are pretty much the same thing. We're not going to get into that. Then romance and thriller, which those two were a bit of a shock that they ranked as high as they did. The longest book I read was Edge of Eternity by Ken Follett, which was 1,103 pages in length, and the shortest book was Old Rock Is Not Boring by Deb Paludi, which was 40 pages in length. The average length of the books that I read was 390 pages, and it took me around 14 days to finish each book. The least time spent was Old Rock. Again, this book was only 40 pages, so I read it in a day. And the one I spent the most time with was Treasury of Greek Mythology. It took me 139 days to read. I just read about a different god, goddess, hero every day, and that's how I did that. Now, the authors that I spent the most time with in 2025, so the authors I read the most of, Suzanne Collins with 5 books. I read all of her Hunger Games universe books. Robert Byrd, this is the one where I don't know what the second book was. It always comes up as 2. I did read Jason and the Argonauts, but I don't remember what the second book was. And then Diana Gabaldon, I read 2 books because I finished up the Outlander series. My average rating was a 3.33, so that's good. I would like that to be higher because I want to be reading great books, not good books. I only gave 2 books full 5 stars. I did have some, that were rounded up, but for the 2 full 5 stars are Small Great Things by Jodi Picoult and Edge of Eternity by Ken Follett. One of these was audio, one of these was ebook. So, you can love a book in all different kinds of formats. And then here's all the different ratings. As I said, I gave a lot of different number ratings, so you can see all of that there. And then some months were better than others. November had the highest average rating of a 3.72, and December wasn't my favorite. I gave it a 2.91. Yeah, December might be my worst reading month ever, rating-wise. March was the month that I did read the most pages with 4,309 pages, and this is with other Storygraph users compared to my reading. So the book that is the most shelved that I read was The Hunger Games. I gave it a 4.5. And the least shelved was The Singular 14 Society's Yuletide Guide to High Strangeness by Tobias Whalen. Only 2 users have shelved this book. And the highest rated was Know My Name by Chanel Miller with an average rating of a 4.81. I gave it a 4 star. I don't know if at this point I came up with my system of how I rate nonfiction. I might have, I'm not sure though. But I explored the works of 106 new authors, including Benjamin Harrold, Mitch Albom, and Brandon Sanderson. 31 of the books I read were part of a series, and I did 1 reread. This is 1 reread since I've had Storygraph because I had read the Hunger Games books when I was a kid, but I didn't have Storygraph. back in 2010, 2011, so they, you know, didn't count technically as a reread. And then this one says I did DNF, so I read one of the stories in here, so I logged that one story, but I didn't read the whole quartet, so I did count it as a DNF. Now this stat is where it's wonky. I only read 7 books from my own shelves. It's just because I do not have all the books I own on Storygraph, but I am now, this year, going to implement that more, putting all the books that I own into Storygraph and into Fable, so that stat won't be skewed in the future. I don't think that's right. But now we are going to look at all of the books that I read in 2025 and see if I recommend them with a yes, no, or a maybe. We are going to be starting with the one that I finished last, going all the way back to a year ago in January of 2025. Mistborn: The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. This is one that I would recommend with a maybe. It just didn't bring anything new to the table for me. The Secret Lives of Church Ladies by Disha Filia. Again, this is a maybe. I do think this is going to be forgettable overall, but I do think the writing was good. Kiss Her Once for Me by Alison Cochrane. I gave this a 2.5, so that would be a maybe as well. Just characters in romance books, they're a hell of a thing. A Shadow in Summer by Daniel Abraham, Abram, I never know, but 2.5, this is again a maybe. I did like the setting. I think our characters had layers, but I was like, what is the point of this? What is the plot? The White Queen by Philippa Gregory, another maybe. This one is in a series. I just think it was like a bunch of historical events put together. I would have liked more layers to the story. Worm: A Cuban American Odyssey. I gave this a 3.5, so yes, I would recommend. I think this is a great way to learn about this author's immigration story coming to the United States from a communist country. Blood Over Brighthaven by M.L. Wong. This is again a maybe. I gave it a 2.75. Something New Under the Sun. This was my least favorite book in December. It's a 2.5, so it would be a maybe. Very pretentious, but I know a lot of people like that. Just Mercy by Brian Stevenson. This is a yes. Everybody should read this book. It will make you question so many things. I gave it a 4-star. The Singular 14 Society's Yuletide Guide to High Strangeness by Tobias Whalen. Now, I did give this a 4-star, and typically I would say yes, I would recommend that. But I do think this is a book that's not going to be for everybody, because I know not everybody is into paranormal stuff. I am going to say yes, but that's if you are interested in what's on the other side. The Only Plane in the Sky, The Oral History of 9/11 by Garrett M. Graff. This is one of the best books I read in 2025. So yes, I'm definitely going to be recommending it. It will really make you feel all of the emotions. It's an adrenaline ride. Beheld by Tara Shea Nesbitt. This is one that I would recommend with a maybe. The historical research was fantastic. Salvage the Bones by Jesmyn Ward, another maybe. This is an award-winning book, and I do think the atmosphere top-notch. An Unlasting Home by Mai Al-Nakabib. I would recommend this one. Again, showing the Middle East, because I think a lot of people just have stereotypes of what they think of people from the Middle East and what those cultures are like, but this is really showing you. Invisible Child by Andrea Elliott. I gave this a 4.25, so yes, I would recommend this book. It made me lose hope though in society, but I do think you need to read it. The Same Bright Stars by Ethan Joella. This is a maybe. This is like a feel-good book. If you like Tom Hanks movies, you'll like this. Know My Name by Chanel Miller. 4-star, great book. Yes, I do recommend it. I don't even think I need to say more, because this is one that is so, y'all saw it was the highest rated book that I read this year according to Storygraph. Barbarian Alien by Ruby Dixon. This is a maybe. This is straight up erotica. I don't think it has as much feelings and emotions as the first book in the series. The Warmth of Other Suns by Isabel Wilkerson. This was a 4-star. Yes, I do recommend it. It is such a journey of a book, and how this author could tell this nonfiction story. She did a fantastic job. It's narrative nonfiction. Practical Magic by Alice Hoffman. Yes, I would recommend this book. This book was kind of like a cultural reset for me. This book, this movie, this score of the movie. 1984 by George Orwell is a maybe, because classics are so hard for me because you know so much about them, and then once you're like, yeah, that's what that book's about. It didn't do a whole lot for me. Two Dogs by Ian Faulkner. This is a maybe. This is perfect if you have a kid who loves animals. Our Share of Night by Mariana Enriquez. This is a maybe. I gave it a 2.75. It's a big, chunky tome. Maybe try the audiobook. The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Lori Gilmore. I hate the male main character in this book. I gave it a 2.5, so that's a maybe. Volume 0, Issue 2. This is from Book of the Month. This is a maybe. If you like speculative fiction, weird girl fiction, you might like this. The Reformatory by Tananarive Due. Yes, I would recommend. I gave it a 3.75. Okay, here's where I think it came up with Robert Byrd twice because he was the illustrator and the writer. But this is Jason and the Argonauts, and it is a 3-star, so it would be a maybe. Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. Believe it or not, this is a yes. I would recommend it. This is a great palate cleanser. The Power of the Dog by Dawn Winslow, 4.25. This is an underrated book that I have not heard that much about, but yes, I would recommend it. It was a great book. Misbehaving at the Crossroads by my favorite author, one of my favorite authors, Andre Fannin Jeffers. I gave it a 4-star. This is a great book. Yes, I would recommend it. It will alter your brain chemistry. The Roanoke Girls by Amy Engel, 2.25. So no, I would not recommend. Ooh, I don't know. With the 2.25s, I've been meaning to say no because math, that would be closer to a 2-star. So no, I wouldn't recommend this one. This one, yeah, okay. Edge of Eternity by Ken Follett. Yes, I would recommend. It's a 5-star. It was my favorite book of the year. Kidnapped, The Story of the Lindbergh Case by George Waller. This is a maybe. True crime from the 1960s. It was published in the 1960s before somebody tries to correct me. Beverly Bonifage's Dead by Christian Seeley. This is a maybe, again, if you like the weird girl, mentally ill girl books. Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaughey. Yes, I would recommend this one, 3.75. I don't think this is her best book, but so many people have enjoyed this book, and I do think it was a great book. Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. I give a 3.75, so yes, I would recommend. The Last House on Needless Street by 2.75. Yeah, maybe I would recommend this one. This is by Katcherana Ward. I just wish the afterword had been a preface instead. The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. Yes, I would recommend. At the time, I gave it a 3.5, but I think this is the one that I think about the most after reading. Mockingjay by Suzanne Collins, 4.5. Yes, I would recommend. I'm going to say best book in the series. This one is the first one. Hard. Madam by Phoebe Wynne. No, I wouldn't recommend. It's dark academia. Some of y'all might be into it. Catching Fire, I gave a 4-star. So yes, I would recommend. This was my favorite book as a kid, teenager, whatever. But not my favorite on reread. The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. I gave a 4.5. So yes, I would recommend it. The Chalice and the Blade by Ryan Eisler, 4-star. Again, this is another one that will alter your brain chemistry. I think about what this book taught me pretty much every single day. Appalachian Reckoning by Anthony Harkins and Meredith McCarroll. No, I wouldn't recommend. If you've read Hillbilly Elegy, maybe it will work for you. King Nix by Kirsten Backus. This one is a maybe. Again, dark academia, cold, desolate, claustrophobic vibes. Here by Richard McGuire. This is a maybe for the Tom Hanks people out here once again. The Everlasting by Katie Simpson Smith. I gave a 4.25. Yes, I would recommend. How everything in this world is connected, and how love and hate and sin are all intertwined. I gave you Eyes and You Look Towards Darkness by Irene Sola. 3.75. Yes, I would recommend. Another one of my favorite authors. And this one is Be Careful What You Wish For, because you just might get it. Every Rising Sun by Jamila Ahmed. This is a maybe. Maybe if you have read the mythology or the story that's based on. Every Bone a Prayer by Ashley Blooms is a maybe. Purple Prose, girlies, this is for you. The Clan of the Cave Bear by Jean M. All. This one is a maybe. I gave it a 3.75. A History of Milan Under the Sforza by Cecilia Mary Addy. This one is a maybe. If you are new to learn about the Sforza family, this one would be good for you. Treasury of Greek Mythology by Donna Jo Napoli. Yes, I would recommend. I think this is just such a great reference book if you were wanting to look up a certain god, goddess, or hero from Greek mythology. The Last Housewife by Ashley Winstead. This one went above my expectations. I gave it a 4-star. Probably the best thriller of the year. I really enjoyed it. Cataclysm by Lydia Kang. Maybe. The Star Wars books, I'm really questioning if I am still in that era. The Rise of Magics by Nora Roberts. Maybe. Not the best book in the series. Last books, they're either going to be great or they're not going to be. Here's another last book in the series, Road to Rome by Ben Kane. This was a 3.75, so yes, I would recommend. This is everything that a normal person knows about Rome is in this book. Thresh and Hold by Marlonda Dekine. Yes, I would recommend this book, especially if you want to know what it's like to be Gullah Geechee. This is great on voices. A Rising Man by Abir Mukherjee. Sorry for pronunciation there. This one I do recommend. I loved the Indian setting in this book, colonial India. Blankets by Craig Thompson. This is a maybe. I do think a lot of people will be able to find it relatable. Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Taylor Jenkins Reid, again, another favorite author. 4.25. This is a great book. Yes, I would recommend it. The ending was kind of where I'm like, I don't know. On the Line by Joseph Ponthus. No, I wouldn't recommend. This is translated poetry, and I do think the translation might be a bit of the issue there. The Vanishing Half by Brooke Bennett is a maybe. Earth by John Boyne, another maybe. I am going to try more books from him, though. The Survival of the Princess in the Tower is another maybe. This is by Matthew Lewis. I think about some of the theories that this book presented. I think about them quite a bit. So maybe on reread it'd be better. A Keeper by Graham Norton. No, I wouldn't recommend. Just very descriptive. Displacement by Kiku Hughes. I don't see myself rereading, but I do think this book is such an important graphic novel for young readers to read, so recommending with a maybe. Small Great Things by Jodi Picoult. This is a 5-star. Yes, I do recommend it. It will make people uncomfortable, but I think that means you are learning something and are being awakened. The Score by Elle Kennedy, a maybe. Again, not my favorite in the series. Dawnland Voices. Oh my gosh, I remember it took me so long to get through this. This one is a maybe. There's just so many different kinds of works in this book. A Little Life by Anya Yanagihara. It's a maybe. So many people love this book, but I don't know why it's popular. A Land More Kind Than Home by Wiley Cash. Yes, I would recommend this book. It just shows how the rich and how people manipulate lower classes. Awful that people do that. Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. 4-star. Yes, I think this is great even if contemporary literary fiction isn't your main genre. Like if you like romance, you have the small town vibes here. You have found families. So I think there's a lot of tropes that people from other genres will really like about this book. Go Tell the Bees and I'm Going by Diana Gabaldon. Yes, I would recommend, but I mean, it's the 9th book in a series, so y'all have a little while before you get there. You haven't read any of the books. Dog Days by Kyung-Soo Gendry Kim. Yes, I would recommend this book. Again, this is taking a lot of stereotypes that people have about countries in Asia. The stereotype that Asian people will eat dogs. Yeah, and taking that and showing what it's really like there and how culture changes. Stoner by John Williams. This is a maybe. Again, I have no idea how this book is as popular as it is. The Trees by Percival Everett, 3.75. Great book. Very comedic. Chesapeake Requiem by Earl Swift. This is a 4-star. If you like Charlotte McConaughey, if you like Wild Dark Shore, I think you should pick up this nonfiction. Have a little nonfiction companion with you. The Iliad by Homer. A 2.5, so this is a maybe. While You Sleep by Stephanie Merritt, a maybe. This, again, is very, like, genre bending. It's very, I don't know if erotic's the word that I want to use, like an erotic horror. And I'm not saying it's like a romance, like the Ice Planet Barbarians. Not that kind of erotica, but it's just sexy. East of Eden by John Steinbeck, 3.5. This one is one that I would recommend. And I do think about every time I think of, like, when I see California on a map, I think of East of Eden. The Marigold by Andrew F. Sullivan. This is one that I would recommend with a maybe. Mold. If that scares you, and if you want it in a dystopian city setting, there you go. Chicken Wood Plum by Marjane Satrapi. This is one that, yes, I would recommend. I honestly recommend everything by her. Good Life, Mississippi by Elaine St. Lauren. 2.75. So this is one that I would recommend with a maybe, but it is so hard to find like info on this book and all. So you're gonna go on a scavenger hunt. Before We Were Yours by Lisa Wingate. Yes, I would recommend this book. I do think about this book sometimes. So if you want a book that's in like Great Depression era America, and again, how the rich manipulate the poor, eat the rich, that kind of theme, you might like that. Iron, Fire, and Ice by Ed West. This is one that I'd recommend with a maybe if you are a casual fan of A Song of Ice and Fire or a Game of Thrones. Yes. Very Sincerely Yours by Carrie Winifrey, a 4.25. Yes, this is the best romance book I read. It's a feel-good. It's going to make you, oh, you can't see my feet, like kick your feet in the air. The Women by Kristen Hanna. Yes, I would recommend, but I do not think this is her best book. The main character, Frankie, made me want to throw the book. The Sunshine Girls by Molly Fader. I'm Staying in the Jungle. This one was a 4-star. Yes, I would recommend it. I do prefer this one to The Women, but I can definitely see why. Yeah, these would just be interesting to read close together, like I did. The Little Liar by Mitch Albom, I gave a 4.75. This is actually the book that my book club rated the highest that we read. This one, again, will make you want to stare at a wall after you finish it. Challenger by Adam Higginbotham. This is a 3.75. Yes, I would recommend it. This one shows why don't put band-aids over things. Don't bottle up your emotions because it will eventually blow up, and quite literally. For All the Right Reasons by Elaine Kaufman. No, I wouldn't recommend, but it might be because this was the second book in the series and I didn't read the first book. I don't know. Flower Children by Maxine Swan. This is a maybe. If you want that nostalgic summer feeling of childhood, you might like this. Binding 13. No. Hero Complex, and I'm Not Like Other Girls. One of my least favorite books of the year. People hate on me because of it, but honestly I don't care because reading is subjective, but no. People Like Her by Ellery Lloyd. Again, no. But I think a lot of people who are into like mommy vloggers, maybe give it a go. Old Rock by Deb Paludi. Yes, this just stands for like everything I love, and I'm glad that children are getting exposed to that. Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young. Yes, this is a good romance. I would recommend it. It's cute and really unlike any other romance book I've read. Cat Poems by New Directions. No, wouldn't recommend it. Sorry, kitties. The Marriage Portrait by Maggie O'Farrell. Yes, I would recommend. She puts so much research into her books, and again, it's one that I think about a lot, and it did a whole lot for me. Disillusioned by Benjamin Harrell. Yes, I would recommend. That's who Benjamin Harrell was when we were reading the new authors earlier. I was like, I don't know who that is. But 3.5, yes, I would recommend. Nightingale Point by Lune Goldie. Yes, this is another one that I would recommend. 90s nostalgia with a huge plot twist that will have your jaw on the floor. Rosewater by Tay Thompson. No, I hate how women were depicted in this book, and it was my least favorite book of the year. Memory Wall by Anthony Dower. Another one of my favorite authors, but not the best, so I would recommend it with a maybe. This Place by a ton of different authors. This is one that I would recommend with a maybe. I did learn a lot, and I do think it's great to see these themes in a graphic novel. Written in My Own Heart's Blood by Diana Gabaldon. Yes, yeah, I do recommend it. Fever by Dion Meyer. This is a maybe. If you want a dystopian, post-apocalyptic set in Africa, because that's something that I don't see that much, so I think that's interesting. Leviathan Wakes by James S.A. Corey. No, I wouldn't recommend. But again, very genre-bending. If you're typically somebody who likes mysteries, thrillers, noirs, but want to try a sci-fi, maybe it will be for you. What We Kept to Ourselves by Nancy Jo-Yeon Kim. This is another maybe. The Covenant of Water. Yes, I would recommend. again, it taught me so much just about a whole lot of different kind of things. And you can tell that the author is very intelligent. Those are all of the books that I read in 2025, and if I would recommend them to you guys. What was the best book you read in 2025? What was the worst book? How many books did you read? Let me know in the comments below. But Happy New Year's. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you made it all the way through, leave a snow emoji in the comments below. And as always, comment, rate, and subscribe. And don't forget to ring that notification bell to be notified when all my videos go live. I'll see you in my next one. Bye! If you are familiar with my videos, you're used to seeing Sherman at the end of them. Sadly, Sherman has since passed away, but I would still like to encourage you guys to help your local shelters. Sherman was at the Darlington County Humane Society in rural South Carolina. I always have their link down below in the description if you guys would like to help them, but also help your local shelters as well. You can do that by donating, sharing posts like this one, volunteering, fostering, and adopting, which it's great to do all of those things. Great to help your community, great to help the animals in your community, and I cannot recommend it enough. All of my pets were rescues, they were strays or from animal shelters, and I love them so much, and I know how much love they can give, so knowing these pets at the shelter can equally give that much love, it's amazing. And y'all should totally take part and help out those local animal shelter pets, and please help them.